Hello? Y'all, is this on? Is this on? Okay. So hello everyone. Welcome to youth group. If you do not know me, my name is Elisha Kiboino, and I will be giving my testimony today. So before we get into my testimony, I would like to show you about myself. So on the next slide, you will see a bunch of pictures of me with my family. So on this picture right here, like the far left, you'll see us, my mom, and my brothers. We were at a Maryland Terps game, and it was like the first football game we've been to. And the bottom, you'll see we're at my aunt's birthday party. And then in the picture in between those, you'll see like my family, Hayden's family. I think it was Enoch receiving some certificate in 5th grade. In the top right, I'm actually in the middle, you'll see us in Easter. You'll see this one, it was a youth group with Chris and Caitlin and Elijah. And you'll see on the right, Gabby and I at my cousin's wedding. And then the top right, you'll see me and my brothers in Kenya when we were in 2015. So that's pretty much it. But the next slide, you'll see like a bunch, I love music. So you'll see a bunch of albums that I like, yeah. You'll see Mariah Carey, Mandisa, Folklore, Control, History, The Velvet Rope, 1989. Daydream, and some other stuff. So, now that you know a bit about me, let me just get into my message. So, a lot of times we feel we get a lot of blessings, right? And I feel like we don't know what that word really means. So, according to Google, the word blessed means divinely or supremely favored in the word of, or in other words, fortunate. Now, that definition is a very good definition, actually. It's not a bad one, but it got me thinking about what the word blessed meant to me specifically. So what I think the word blessed means to me is being given a gift that tends to benefit you in disguise or either now in the future. So, now what God says about the word blessed or being blessed or a person who is blessed is that in Psalms 1, chapter 1, verse 2, a blessed person is one who does not walk in the step with the wicked or stand in the way that sinners take or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is the law of the Lord and who meditates on his law day and night. So now what I get from reading this is that God is saying a blessed person is not one who just receives material objects, but one who spreads the word of God and is rather giving peace to the world instead of being someone who tends to pour down on people's days and bring hatred into society. And I'm not going to stand up here and say that everywhere I go, I tell someone new about the Word of God. I wish I was like that, but I'm not. And if you're like that, it's okay to be like that. But don't let that hold you back from your being with God yourself. Instead of holding on to that fear, surround yourself with people who are like that already. Like Diego. I love Diego. Like, clap for Diego. Diego, he's like probably the most Jesus-like person in this room. And I surround myself with Diego because he's someone who I look up to. He's someone who's steady, someone who's, I guess, accomplished is what I would like to say. So, surround yourself with people that will uplift you and bring you up with the Word of God instead of someone who will tear you down. I'm going to tell you two stories in the Bible that I feel show what the word blessed means and are good examples of what the word blessed is. So, in the next slide, you'll see that I'm going to tell the story of Abram and Sarah, or Abraham and Sarah, or Abram and Sarai. But their names change so much throughout the story. So, let's get into it, I guess. You may not know the story, but if you do, I'm going to tell it anyways. So, Abraham and Sarai have been praying for a child for a very, very long time. Like, at this point, they're 75 and they still have no child, but they're still praying. And one day, God decides to visit them, and he tells them in Genesis 12, chapter 2, that I will make you into a great nation and bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless you. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all the people on earth will be blessed through you. So later on in the chapter, God sends Abram and Sarai with all of their possessions and with people that they can gather to the land of Canaan, where God tells them that this is where your offspring will grow for generations and for years and decades to come. So, of course, you don't go through life peacefully. There's always some twists and turns. And because in this story, the twist and turn was the famine that occurred. And because of the famine, Abraham and Sarah had to go to Egypt and search for food because they did not have food. So when they went there, God ended up blessing them with sheep and cattle, male and female donkeys, a few male and female servants, and the camels. And at that time, that's not like very, it's a big thing. It's not something you get every day. But they still didn't have a child. So fast forward, they're 90 years old. They've been praying still, and they still have no child. But God decides to one day just bless them with a baby boy. And after that, they ended up having descendants and children for decades, for like many years. And they ended up having enough family for probably 2,000 years or more, of course. But I consider the story to be a blessing because they have been praying for many days and nights and months and years. And although they did not receive their child that they wanted right away, they ended up, God gave it to them after a very long time. And I feel like that's with the work of prayer and the work with building a relationship with God and staying with Him, that could happen. So the next story I'm going to tell is the story of Joseph. So Joseph either has 12 brothers or is one of 12 brothers. I do not know. My parents both have like 8 or 9 siblings. So they don't know, so don't blame me. But so of course I'm going to tell you the story of Joseph. And in the story, like I said, Joseph has 12 brothers and he is favored by the father. And his father even gave Joseph a very colorful robe, like the rainbow and everything. And his brothers were jealous of that, but that was not like the tip of the iceberg. That was just one big step. Later on in the story, Joseph got a dream from God that his brothers were so mad about because it was like a really good dream. And he remembered it because we don't remember our dreams usually, but Joseph remembered his. So he kept bragging about it to his brothers, and they were so mad about it, they just said, let's just kill him. So they did not kill him. In fact, they almost did, but one of their brothers decided to what did he decide to do? No, I'm kidding. He ended up saying, let's just sell him off to slavery and fake his death. So his father thinks he's dead. So that's what they did. They ended up selling him to Potiphar, and he ended up being a slave in Egypt, while his brothers took his robe and put like sheep blood on it, and they ended up giving that to his father, saying that that was his blood and that he had died. So, like I said, they faked his death. His father was very, very sad, but God stuck with Joseph throughout his time in Egypt. Joseph did start out as a slave, but he ended up rising in the ranks, and he ended up being like an attendant or like an assistant to Potiphar, I guess. And because God gave him the blessings of being kind and doing his job right, and also he gave him the skills that he needed. So this was very good for Joseph. He was doing really, really well. He was like succeeding in everything he did. But one day, Potiphar's wife, she ended up taking a liking to Joseph, and she tried to seduce him a few times. And Joseph, he of course said no because he was a very noble and humble man. But one day, she took it very far and took his cloak and tried to throw him into bed, but he ran away. And Potiphar's wife was very mad about that. So what she ended up doing was she spun the story around and told Potiphar, her husband, that he ended up trying to sleep with her and he tried to seduce her. And Potiphar was mad, of course. So Potiphar sent Joseph to prison. And everything was doing really well for Joseph. He was succeeding in everything he did. He was working under Potiphar, but one day everything vanished. So like I said, he did end up going to prison, and he was there for 2 years. Now, he ended up finding his way, staying with God, and God continued to let him rise up the ranks, and he ended up being put in charge of the prisoners because the prison guard took a liking to Joseph. And to fast forward the story, Joseph, he ended up finding his way back with Potiphar because he predicted that there would be 7 years of famine and 7 years of really, really good food and growth. And because of that, Potiphar, he was afraid of his kingdom. So he let Joseph take the lead, and they ended up preparing for the 7 years of famine. And Joseph was right, the famine did come. And they had enough food to keep everyone safe and also keep everyone outside the region, having good food. So, this story, like he said before this, his brothers did end up putting him to slavery. But because there was a famine, his brothers came back hoping they would find food. And when they came to Egypt, they did not recognize Joseph, but Joseph recognized him. And Joseph, he decided to mess around with his brothers. So he said that they were spies, and he sent them to jail for 3 days. But he did end up releasing them, and he gave them the food they needed and a little bit of more to let them survive. And his brothers did leave. Now, to fast forward the stories, his brother did end up coming back for more food, but they brought their father this time, and then Joseph gave them what they needed and left. If you want to find more, you can read it. But so in this story, like I said, God put Joseph through many different things, and it was like Joseph was a pawn in a game that God was playing. But God knew what he was doing, of course. Every struggle, every step back that God put Joseph through was a blessing in disguise, because in the end, he lived happily. God gave him children, a good home, and people around him that were blessing him and letting Joseph succeed. So sometimes you may be going through something that's so big that you end up questioning your faith with God and the people that is around you, people that you think should be blessing you with good memories and be fun. But I mean, that's okay to question your faith. I think that's very normal. But that shouldn't hold you back. Instead of thinking about the moment and the pain and the heartache that you feel in this moment, think about the future. Think about how this moment will get you to where you're going to be in the future. So an example I was going to use, I thought about not using this, but not in 1989, Taylor Swift dropped an album called 1989, and she was at the top of the world in 2014. And then all of a sudden, everyone turned their back on her in 2016, and then she ended up coming out with the album Reputation in 2017, and that brought her back everywhere. So I don't know if she stuck with God throughout this time, but either way, God blessed her with money and fame and everything, and she ended up succeeding. So I guess what I'm trying to say is stick with God, because he always will overcome everything that you go through. Like during COVID, everything was kind of sucky. Everything was shutting down, businesses were closing, there was no school, you couldn't go anywhere. And I was about to have a really good time in 2020, but that didn't happen. But although it was very bad for a lot of people, I think it was actually really, really good for me. I'm not trying to brag, I really am not. But God blessed me with a lot of things. So you'll see in my list, it's a very weird list, I know. But you'll see during this time, God blessed me with a lot of friends, like Gabby and Hayden and Chris and those people. And we had the midnight FaceTime calls where we'd FaceTime each other a lot. My parents don't know about that, but sorry, Mom. But Caitlin and I, we used to play Animal Crossing for 10 hours a day. My brothers and I and a lot of our friends, we used to play Fortnite all the time. And then this morning at the Centennial Park. My parents, during COVID, they both got laid off, but when my mom got laid off, my dad went back to work. So the money was still coming in the house. But my parents, along with Hayden's parents and all these other great parents in my life, they ended up thinking, let's just take them to Centennial Park, and we walk in the morning. So we woke up at 6 a.m., and we ended up going to the park every single morning. And it was so fun, because we have I built a lot of memories, with Gabby right there. We used to walk around the park the entire time, and it was really fun. And those memories stick with me today, so I thank my parents greatly for that. And TikTok, that was a big thing. I used to hate, actually, give a round of applause, my parents. Woo! So during this time, TikTok was huge. I used to hate TikTok. Now then I liked it, and now I hate it again, but that's a different story. My family was a really big thing, and Grey's Anatomy. Oh my God, I love Grey's Anatomy. Like, it took me 2.5 years to finish all 19 seasons, but that show is amazing. But let me move on because this is not the point. I guess so. During this time, I felt God blessed me with a lot of good things. But because there's a lot of bad things going on in the news, you see people dying every day. You see a lot of people in these hospitals. You see the protests that were happening. There's a lot of heartache and a lot of bad things. So it led me to feel really guilty because I had so much compared to these families that had so little. So it made me question today, why do you feel guilty over your blessings? So a lot of times, many people are given good things. And like I said, I've been blessed over my life. And that's a great thing. Like me personally, I feel greatly blessed. I have a family, I have a house, I have brothers, and I have Gabby. And I feel really blessed. But I think that I've ended up, because I'm such an empathetic person, I thought, I felt really guilty. And feeling guilty over the good things is not a bad thing, but it ends up holding you back. It makes you limit yourself. It makes you less, I guess. And it also ruins your mental health. So I know you tend to it's not a bad thing to feel guilty, but it shouldn't hold you back, like I said. Yes, it's okay to feel guilty, but instead of that, try to turn it to something else, like drive. Make it so that way you end up trying to be a good person to other people that need it, So I'm gonna give you a few steps that I think helped me. So the first one is feeling nostalgic. When I say this, nostalgia, I don't have a definition, but it basically means thinking about the past. So when you think about the past, oftentimes you tend to hate it. You tend to look at yourself and question what were you doing? But instead of thinking about that, think about how you've grown from that point to now. Think about how much all the things that you've grown through and how you came out stronger in the end. Like me, I used to be so, I say clueless, because I was living life like it was High School Musical. I thought everything was happy. But during COVID, it kind of changed my mindset into being more mature, more, my age, and more focused. So I feel like COVID, thinking about the past, helped me figure out who I am now and make me feel stronger about everything. So the next thing you can do is give thanks. Often we tend to come to God with wants, and come to our parents, and come to anyone with wants, like money or a new phone. Because I need one. But that's we often come to people with wants, but we end up not saying thank you because those people are the people that ended up giving you what you have now. Like my iPhone 8, it is going strong. It is 1% right now, but I bought it with my money, and my mom, she kind of helped me out with it too, and I've had it for 3 years, so thank you for this iPhone 8. But either way, just give thanks. Giving thanks helps you grow with people around you and also connects your relationship with God because He's always with you, and it's always good to have some sort of bond with Him, and at least grow with it. So giving thanks is a really good way to do that. And the last one is to give. I feel like we like to hold on to a lot of things that we have, and I feel like that's a good thing. But also you need to remember to give back because, like I said, when you think about the past, think about who helped you, and maybe think about how maybe you could help someone who was at the point that you were back then. So think about giving your time, like VBS. Sign up for VBS, okay? That's a perfect way to give. It's so fun. No one did not ask me to do this, okay? I'm doing this because I want to. But sign up for VBS. It's so fun because you end up giving your time to help these little kids make memories that'll probably last for a very long time. Like Nathan. You're Nathan. Yeah, he was my kid for VBS. You're not Nathan? Oh my God! Oh my God. Sorry, I'll give you a big hug and a cookie after this. But either way, I hope that I give him really good memories during PBS. And look at him now, he's at Crossroads. Give a clap for him. But Yeah, give thanks. Just remember to give thanks and pray for people because you have no idea what someone's going through during like their time of their life. Someone could be at the lowest point, like Taylor Swift. She was at the lowest point in 2014. But you can just always pray for those who you think need prayer, or even checking in on somebody. Just like even send like a "Hey, what's up?" text. That could be like the light of the day. Like Gabby used to do that. I don't know what happened, but she stopped. But she used to always text me, "Hey." But either way, she's amazing. I love her and stuff. But just remember to give thanks and pray. And yeah. I think I've talked enough. And before I end up leaving, I'd like to close with this verse. It's Numbers 24 through 26. It says, "The Lord bless you and the Lord keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace." Thank you for listening to my message, and good night.